Lead and Love Motivational. And one of his whole things is just go with the flow. He's talking specifically about death, like we all have to die. Everything dies. It's undefeated. You can't get around it. You will die. But in that, when I think about it, it's like every situation will die. It will all come to an end. Everything ends. It grows, it changes, but first it has to end. You're looking at a person one way, that has to end. You look at them a different way. You're at a job doing one thing, that has to end, even if you get a promotion or you walk away or you let go. You're in a relationship with your friend or the spouse or your lover or whatever, that has to end. You might grow, they might pass away. It's so many things. But the bottom line is, we're not meant to continue to hold on to this stuff. That's hard, right? It feels hard. It feels hard. It feels lonely. It feels like there's no certainty and security. I don't know. The only thing that I do know is that the more we resist, the harder it is. I know when I started just going with the flow, in the flow of my life and just letting go, they really had something. They were on to something when they say let go and let God, because I let go of whatever I thought. I got rid of the ego, and what wasn't meant for me, I could tell, because it was just too much resistance. It was too much going on. And I'm not talking about, that whenever I had to work hard for something, I was like, oh, okay, never mind. That's not for me. Not that. I mean, like outright resistance. Like there's something wrong. I feel it in my bones. My heart is not settled. I can't relax. I don't have peace of mind. I'm not content. Like that's when I know it's not meant for me. And I just started just walking away, just letting it go, even if the relationship with the person still exists. Like I'm still going to speak to you and stuff, we still going, but I'm going to let nature take its course. And if we are drifting further and further apart, then I'm going to just go ahead and let that go. I'm going to let that happen, because one thing I know for sure is that you can't backfill if the hole still has something in it that don't belong there. You got to let God pull it up by the root, and then he'll backfill it with whatever is supposed to be the right thing. That's what I'm all about right now. What is the right thing? What is supposed to be in my life? What is not supposed to be in my life? Here's a prime example. I was talking to my daughter earlier, and the Seven of Swords card came up. This is why I'm on this topic, because this literally just happened today. And I was like, God takes away the things that we literally don't need. I was like, think about it. We don't have 3 arms, right? Why? Because we don't need it. All we needed was 2. Arm, leg, arm, head. Like that's all we needed. And since God is, I want to say all knowing, but it's a little bit more than that. We have free will. And we are in control of our own destiny. But what God has and what God does is more than that. If we maintain the proper relationship with God, then we are able to stay in flow for much, much longer in our lives, versus if we begin to disconnect, then we kind of veer off to the left or the right path and, got to come back and figure it out, etc. God is never lost. We are, all that kind of thing. But if we just let go of the other distractions, it's much easier to hear God and just kind of stay right in flow where he wants us. I mean, that's what's worked for me anyway. And I mean, you can definitely trust my experience. I'm not only doing the commercial, I'm also a client, okay? Like, it's hard out here in life. This life, it's a cold, cold, hard world. And the further you are from the truth, The further you are from your life's path, the harder it becomes, because now you're just doing all these things that make other people happy, that will gratify other people. But at the end of the day, you'll still be left feeling empty. But guess what? Because you didn't let God pull up whatever that is by the roots, there's no opportunity for backfill. So you're quite literally just backed up. You got all these weeds running around in your life's garden. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing that can be done about it. God can't prune it because, again, free will means that we have to call in the master gardener to do what he got to do. But if we never call him, or we never give him the space and opportunity, then what can he do? And that was my life. For a long time, I had all these weeds running around the garden of my life. Like just all this nonsense that needed to be pulled up by the root and thrown away, and the backfill could begin. New seeds could be planted and get that new soil to fill in that hole. And it's hard though, it's crazy, because especially when God begins to prune your life at an older age, you turn around and you just have all these holes in your life, all these things that are missing because they were previously filled with nonsense, just the wrong thing. But the good news about that is that all of those holes in your life will make you whole. WHOLE. All those holes in your life, HOLE, will make you whole in life. WHOLE. And you just feel better. For one, because you're not running around in all that illness, having all those weeds running around in your life, all that stuff that doesn't belong there, that has to go, that causes illness. Just imagine having all these friends and none of them like you. Or living with parents, or being around parents who never accepted you. All of this causes illness because you're not happy. Not really. You're surrounded by all these people, but what you feel like you should have will never be yours because they could never give it to you. You'll never get it in that job that you hate going to every day. It won't happen. It can't happen. You'll never get it kissing that boss's behind, when they not paying you right and they don't respect your credentials, and they treating you like garbage. It'll never work. It won't happen like that. How it happens is you let God do his thing. You tell him you need help. Boom. He'll come in and he'll figure out exactly what needs to be done. It's just like when you call a real landscaper. You say, hey, listen, I want you to come out and make my garden look nice. He says, okay, cool. You go sit down on the couch. He's out there figuring out, what needs to go, what needs to come. Maybe I can plant this over here, get rid of that, etc. That's the same thing with God. God, I need your help. Thank you. Boom. You go sit down and take a rest. When God shows up, you'll get your instructions incrementally. And the thing about instructions from God is the more you listen and the more you do, the more you'll hear, the more instructions you get. It starts off small and it just, builds momentum. The better you get at it, the better you get at listening, the better you get at being obedient. And remember, obedience is so much better than sacrifice. Like, why go through a whole bunch of sacrifices when you can just be obedient and do what God said to do the first time? Trust me, you don't feel like the do-over, because sometimes the do-over can happen immediately. Sometimes the do-over can take 20, 40 years. Think about goodness gracious me, my mind is slipping. But think about the people, Moses' people, God's people that were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. Their do-over took 40 years. All they had to do was listen the first time. Instead, whole generations died in the wilderness when they was right next to where they was supposed to be at, but couldn't get in because they was on the wrong path. The backfill is important, y'all. Let God go ahead and remove whatever you don't need. Let him prune your life, because once that happens, then you can come in, or he can come in, and he can put in the things that actually belong there. He can add the things that are going to grow that are going to bring growth into your life and happiness and beautiful and be fruitful. But if you're running around with a bunch of weeds in your life, it's going to be the same thing, different day. Nonsense. No love, no comfort, no peace of mind, no contentment, no wealth, no abundance, no nothing. All right. Thanks for checking out the podcast. This is Lead in Love. You can go to the website, which is at leadinlove.com. I have a couple of YouTube channels. Quote Lead In for daily quotes. Lead in Love Motivational for all the motivational speakers, videos, etc. And then I have Living Tarot Cards and Oracle decks where I do tarot scopes, horoscopes, readings, predictions, and etc. Remember to lead the life you want to live and love yourself in the process. That's the only way it's going to work. Let God prune your life so he can backfill it with things that will grow, that will be fruitful, and that will make your life beautiful. All right? All right.